You are tuned in to On Air with Chris Shanafelt. Welcome back On Air with Chris Shanafelt as we continue our Player Spotlight series with the 2020 NFL Draft Class. And I'm now joined by the All-American offensive lineman out of Washburn University. He's one of the better athletes in the NFL Draft as well. It's a pleasure to welcome onto the show Kyle Hinton as we are 10 days away from the NFL Draft. Kyle, I appreciate you taking the time this evening. How's everything going?
Oh, it's going good. I appreciate you having me on the show.
Absolutely. The pleasure is all mine. Let's start things off by talking about the draft process in itself, Kyle. Back in January, you were able to participate in the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl, which is one of the top college football all-star games in the country. What was that experience like playing in the Rose Bowl, especially for you being a Division II prospect, being able to go up against some top talent in the country, some guys from Power 5 FBS conference teams? What was that experience like for you to kind of showcase your abilities against those guys in front of scouts and decision makers from all 32 NFL teams that week in California?
Definitely was, initially a culture shock, definitely, arriving in, a big hotel, seeing all these, big time athletes, talking to, a lot of different, NFL teams at the hotel. And then, going to practices and you have, hundreds of scouts, looking at everything you do, all the reps and everything. And, having an NFL playbook, NFL coaches, just definitely a culture shock initially. But at the end of the day, it's just football. I've been playing this all my life. So, there's definitely, a lot of similarities, as the practices went on, I just got more and more comfortable. But yeah, definitely a good experience for me to, go against top tier talent. Definitely, come from Division II. Did a lot, help my confidence, going into, the NFL, knowing, I can compete with the top tier guys. So, I'm really grateful for the whole experience.
Absolutely, and you're lucky enough to also participate in a pro day. Normally, that'll be in every prospect type thing, but this year things were a little different. You were obviously able to participate in the Kansas State Pro Day. That was, of course, just days before the NFL put a stop to all pro days, as well as top 30 visits due to the coronavirus outbreak. At that Kansas State Pro Day, Kyle, you measured in at 6'2", 296 pounds. You ran a 40-yard dash somewhere between a 4.7 and a 4.8. You also had 34.5-inch vertical and put up 34 reps in the bench press. That's 225 pounds on the bar. Some really impressive numbers, no doubt about it. And comparing those numbers to the offensive linemen at the NFL Combine, you would be right at the top of that list. Where were you training at for your pro day, and how do you feel about those numbers that you recorded?
I trained 2 months in Exos, Phoenix. So, I was training with, top tier guys, like Javon Kinlaw and C.J. Henderson, all those people. I knew I was going to put up big numbers. All my, trainers knew I was going to put up big numbers. I was just, really pleased with, all the numbers that I put up. I went into it, having kind of, just a chip on my shoulder because, I felt a little slighted. That I didn't get invited to the combine. So throughout my training, I'll just really focusing in on that pro day. Trying to put up big numbers to turn heads and get scouts to look at me more.
Absolutely, especially for smaller school prospects, the pro day is a huge opportunity, and for you to not only participate in a bigger school's pro day such as Kansas State, but just to have the opportunity to show your athleticism off in front of NFL teams is obviously huge, especially this year as many prospects did not get that opportunity due to some circumstances. Now, Kyle, you were a standout member on the track and field team as well there at Washburn University. This past season, you made it to nationals. What events did you participate in, and how did that experience help you at all, if at all, as you prepared for your pro day?
So I did shot put, discus, hammer, and weight throw in college, and then I did shot put and disc in high school. Me and my friend at Washburn, we just decided to walk onto the track team here, and initially we just wanted try and get some extra scholarship for money. We ended up getting a scholarship and everything, and I turned out to be pretty good at the weight throw, which is just a shorter hammer. You just throw it indoors. Being an All-American in that, it definitely helps out with the with the draft process. I mean, that's something to put on your resume. Just showing off your athleticism and things like that. It just helps out. Just getting more teams, just to look at you, knowing that you're an athlete. You're not, just like for me, a lineman. You're not just a big man, just pushing guys. You have some athleticism, and you can do things, and you can take different coaching styles, and apply that.
And, of course, that was not only in display on the football field, but also track and field. And then, of course, the Kansas State Pro Day itself, where it all came together. Obviously, now Pro Football Network reported that the 49ers and the Raiders wanted to bring you in for a top 30 visit, Kyle. Those weren't able to happen due to the circumstances we're currently in as a country. But teams have been talking to prospects via video chat. Have you been able to talk to any teams through that avenue thus far, Kyle?
Yeah, I've talked to about 10 different teams in the past, couple of weeks. A lot of phone calls, things like that. A lot of, I'll talk with, some player personnel scouts. Talk to a lot of O-line coaches, though. They'll go through schemes with me and have me drum up plays, things like that. Things to, try and get to know me better as a person, they seem to, really like me, and things like that. So it's just, I'm excited, going into the draft, seeing where things land.
Just out of curiosity, Kyle, we're based out of Chicago. The Bears could use offensive line help. Have you been in contact with the Bears at all, whether it's a scout, offensive line coach, GM himself? The Bears have a tendency to target small school prospects, and certainly, Kyle Hinton of Washburn could certainly help on the offensive line here in Chicago. Have they been a team that have shown interest in you at all?
Unfortunately, no. I was really hoping, they'd hit me up, because that's my favorite team too. But yeah, I had in the area scout hit me up, just calling me saying that I'm on the prospect list, but there's no FaceTimes or anything. And then throughout the process, they haven't shown much interest in me. So I mean, anything can happen from now to the draft, but right now they don't seem to be that interested.
All right, we're going to have to switch that up. Come on, Ryan Pace, get on that phone. Make the phone call to Kyle Hinton of Washburn. Weirdest question asked up to this point, Kyle. I mean, through these conversations you're having with teams, year after year we hear about prospects, being thrown off by certain questions. Has there been an off-the-wall question asked to you up to this point?
I think during the season, one scout asked me. He asked me, "What's your deepest, darkest fear?" It was just like, just first question he asked me, like he'd introduce himself and then just ask me the question. Like I don't know. It kind of froze up. Especially just somebody that I just met. But yeah, he just wanted to see how I'd react and things like that. So that's probably the weirdest question I've gotten so far.
Again, we're chatting with Kyle Hinton, the 2020 NFL draft prospect, the standout offensive lineman out of Washburn University. And Kyle, talking about your journey to Washburn, I mean, you're from Peoria, Arizona. How the heck do you land at a small Division II school in Topeka, Kansas?
Yeah, I mean, I was in Germany for my first 2 years of high school. I played football out there. I'd say it was like a 3A, type, competition level. Then I got to the States, and I went to a big 6A school, Liberty High School in Arizona. And, it was a big transition, trying to see the field there, my first year there. And then, ended up starting my senior year, left tackle the whole year. But yeah, I didn't really, know anything about the recruiting process, for colleges, and I didn't really do that many camps and things like that. So I wasn't really on any, college radars. So yeah, I was just very fortunate to get an offer from Washburn University. They came out to my school. They saw me. They saw my highlight tape. Liked me. Flew me out for a workout. I crushed that, and they ended up offering me. So I was just really, really grateful for that.
And the rest was history. Since you've landed at Washburn, you've played in all 40 games, starting 34 of those 40 games. Quickly became one of the best offensive linemen in the country. You were a 4-time All-Conference selection and a 3-time All-American. You really dominated the level of competition from the get-go, Kyle. What did you show the coaching staff, though, early on that made them confident enough in having a freshman such as yourself start on the offensive line?
So, I've never started a game as a freshman, but, I played in a lot of games. I was a backup for left and right tackle. For me, I came into camp. I was fully expecting the red shirt. But, throughout camp, I was competing with, the ones on the D-line, and I was doing pretty good for a freshman. Most of the time, it's just me not knowing the playbook, really. That was just holding me back. They were like, we're not going to redshirt you. We're going to play you this year because, you're going to be great down the line. Getting the game experience and things like that. So it's more of a developmental thing. And definitely, helped out with, my confidence, knowing that, I can compete on this level. And it definitely paid off. My senior year, I'm just as comfortable as I can be. The game, slowed down tremendously for me, and definitely translated into my play.
And playing in the MIAA over the past 4 years means that you've played against Nathan Shepard of Fort Hays State for a couple of years. He was named the conference's Defensive Player of the Year in 2017 and turned himself into a third-round draft pick for the New York Jets. What were those matchups like, Kyle, against an NFL-caliber defensive lineman such as Shepard? And would you say he's the best player that you've played up against up to this point?
Oh, yeah, no doubt, best player I've ever lined up against ever. Guy has just had a motor that could go for days. He's strong, fast, smart. Anything you could want in a defensive lineman, he had it. I went against him. He was a senior in my sophomore year, definitely shocked going against him. Just feeling how strong he was, how fast he was, and things like that. But I'm proud of the way we handled him on the O-line. I definitely think I can handle him now. As a completing my senior year and everything. So hopefully I'll get to play in the league and see how it works out.
Certainly, I think that matchup is certainly going to happen here soon as we are 10 days away from the NFL draft. Again, we're chatting with 2020 NFL draft prospect, the standout offensive lineman out of Washburn University, Kyle Hinton, here on air. And Kyle, just a couple more questions for you, then we'll let you go. Really do appreciate your time. Speaking of NFL talent coming from the MIAA, last year your teammate Corey Ballantyne was a 6th-round draft pick by the New York Giants. He went through this process himself last year, played in the Reese's Senior Bowl, got invited to the Combine, turned himself into a 6th-round draft pick. Has he given you any advice as you kind of try and follow his footsteps to the NFL?
Yeah. He just laid out, he's a trailblazer. I just try to follow his steps and, how he did things, signing with the agent, going to a bowl game, show out the bowl game, show out, at your pro day or combine, let things fall from there. So I just really try to follow his footsteps and everything. And it's really comforting for me to know that, someone that I knew from, that came from my level can make the transition and, can to the NFL, not only, make a roster, but, can start and, contribute to a team, immediately. So that's just really comforting for me to know.
Oh, I'm sure, absolutely, especially coming from Washburn University. And as they say, Kyle, the more you can do, the better your chances are. I know you've seen some snaps at both guard and tackle over the years. I've talked to some people that think that you can make for a pretty good center at the next level as well. Have you gotten a feel as to where most teams might want to play you at on the offensive line at the next level?
Yeah, all the teams that talk to me, they're just saying, that they think I'd be, a really great center. So, they just want to see how much I can snap. At my pro day, that was a big thing is, showing them that I can snap the ball. So most of my O-line drills, I had a ball in my hand snapping to a QB. So that, most of the teams are just saying, guard center, mostly center, just because, I can read defense pretty well. And, I'm a smart guy. So that's definitely a need in the NFL, good centers.
Absolutely, and that certainly says a lot about your football IQ as well, what teams think about you. Kyle, your very last game with the Ichabods, it was on the road against Nebraska Kearney, and you got the call that every offensive lineman dreams about. In the fourth quarter, you ran outside, you caught a pass and went 8 yards for a touchdown. Washburn would win that game in a shootout 57-41. How excited were you when you heard the play call and knew that the ball was coming your way? Take us through that play, your one and only collegiate reception and touchdown that would come in your very last game at Washburn University.
Yeah, definitely a good cherry on top to my career at Washburn. To hear when they called the play in, I was kind of like, well, they actually called the play, So yeah, they called it in. We were on the sidelines, so I'm jogging out there. I'm like, well, did they actually call the play? I'm like confirming with my guard. I'm like, hey, did he call the play? And he's like, yeah, you're about to get the ball. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, playing it through my head because I had dreamed about it when they first installed the play. So I'm like sleeping on. I'm like, okay, this how how it's gonna go in my head. So I'm like just hoping it's gonna go that way, and then I was just very, I was just so happy, when we scored and everything. And, it was just a great time for all of us.
All right, so you got to share with us, Kyle, how long has that play been in the making for? Is this a play that they drew up dating back to your freshman year and they just never called it? It sounded like you were pretty shocked that this was actually a play that was called, and it just so happened to be your final game as a college athlete.
I think the coaches, had joked around saying, like, oh yeah, we're gonna install this play this year from my senior year, back in camp. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna install and play, something like that. But I never really believed them. And then it was my senior day, so it was the week before, the senior week. They installed it. We didn't get to run it because there wasn't a situation for it in that game, but we still ended up winning. But yeah, I knew the play was in. I knew we had ran in practice a couple of times. I'll admit I did drop the task a couple of times in practice, but the coach still had confidence in me, so I'm really grateful for that. So yeah, when they called it, I was just kind of just shaking, happy, excited, and then just really happy for the outcome.
Hey, you caught the ball when it mattered the most, and that was in the game at the 8-yard line, and you ran it in for the score. You cannot beat that. For those not familiar with your game, Kyle, we've talked about your versatility, being able to play anywhere on the offensive line. We've talked about your athleticism. There might not be a better athlete on the offensive line in this year's draft class than yourself. How would you describe your playing style on the offensive line for those not familiar with your game? What would you say is your biggest strength as an offensive lineman?
I'm just really aggressive. I like to get off the ball quick, and with a purpose. I like to hit. I like to drive people. I love the nature of O-line, having to play as a unit and things like that. So I'm a very vocal guy on the line. I like to know what everybody's doing, and when they're doing it, the scheme of the play and everything. And, I just like to, play with confidence. and things like that. So if you flip on tape me, just to see just a really aggressive guy that that's quick and athletic, and just likes to hit people.
And we've seen that over the years there at Washburn. Final question, then we'll let you go. Let's say we have all 32 NFL general managers, including the Chicago Bears. I'm going to make sure they get this. Let's say they're all tuned in listening to this very interview. Why should they want the standout offensive lineman out of Washburn University, Kyle Hinton, a part of their team?
You're not going to find many guys like me with my size and my athleticism, my speed. Everybody says, the NFL, offensively is going to turn into a very fast-paced game, and you're not going to have, there's not going to be a place for, just slow offensive linemen that can't move. And, I'm definitely, one of those players that, they can move and, get the job done when the number's called.
Well said, Kyle. Really do appreciate you taking the time. Congratulations on the standout all-conference, all-American career that you are wrapping up there at Washburn University. Congrats on the outstanding pro day performance at Kansas State, and really looking forward to seeing where you land here in about 10 days at the 2020 NFL Draft. Wishing you all the best, man.
Thanks for having me on the show.